Ja kasvana se shaga onasansa, they are going on kash.
Sheila. Jahyaksalam. Danu. Zero.
Isla tiga sagata. Oh,
It's learning who we are, and that's what the Freedom School can give you. And there's not too many places where you can go to do that.
Oh, the wallet. Did you hear that?
I don't know, maybe. I'm not sure.
The Akwesasne Freedom School is where we can learn our language, our culture, and we learn who we are as Ngwehungwe people. For many years there was this strong initiative for us to lose all those things so that we were no longer considered, Indian people or Ngwehungwe people. And that to me is, it's the key for us to be strong people.
At the beginning, the very beginning of our Freedom School, it was supported somewhat, but a lot of our community didn't support it. They didn't really try to stop it or anything, but they felt that if the Freedom School goes, that we would harm our kids, that they wouldn't know how to speak English, they wouldn't know how to read, they wouldn't know how to write, they wouldn't know how to survive in the academic world that surrounds us. That was the criticism. And so we heard that quite frequently, and it was not a criticism, a bad criticism. It was an honest criticism. They thought that was true, because they didn't think that we as Mohawks were capable of creating a school. Because of colonization thinking, we're made to feel like we're inferior people.
West, I've heard that one.
The reason we sent our children there is because we didn't have the language ourselves. I come from a family of 14 children. The first 7 have the language, and the last 7 didn't. My mother told me a bus driver came to her and told her, "Why do you want your children to be savages? You have to teach them to speak English." So I guess that's from that she taught the younger ones, or she spoke mostly English to the younger ones, but the older ones all had the language. And that's the attitude that they had. A lot of people that if you don't teach them English, they're going to be savages.
It's intergenerational trauma with the way our people were treated just a few generations ago. They were really shamed and didn't feel like they were people. They felt like being in Ngwehungwe was beaten out of them, or what they were doing was savage or was not right. And so they were taken out of their homes and they were taught to not be Ngwehungwe, not to speak their language and not to practice their ways, and our people went through a lot.
We're made to feel like we're inferior people. So that was a stagnation of the colonization, that why people thought that. So it wasn't bad, it was just part of colonization symptom. And so we began the Freedom School, and everything, it was really hard because we had no curriculum, we had nobody to tell us this is where you begin A and follow it through to Z. There was nothing, no guide. We completely walked into it, completely in the dark. The only thing we had on our side was that we were Mohawks and that we wanted, of all the turmoil, that the Mohawk Nation would come up victorious and float to the top of the muddy water.
The Akwesasne Freedom School, or Akwesasne Ludadewenio Yudoyastakwa. What we do there is we teach our children the language, the culture, and it teaches about who they are, to take pride in who they are. It teaches about longhouse ceremony. It teaches all those good values like respect, humility, the three principles of the Haudenosaunee, peace, power, and righteousness. Respect for me is a huge thing, and that's what I've noticed. A lot of our kids come out with that when they leave there, and they don't forget it. As once they leave, they continue it.
Nena ju lihowana na hodelu da westa na tojin da westakwa. Doskene tu diunha nekji lo di wen detas. Ohni oji lo no kwe hunwe nada ganda tiga. Yahnek ne owana. Hodili wa sunwa tu roni lo da westa. Chine hodili hodas. Neket ko agadagige ne to na yohto ne ahundo westa. Toka dasat ka tunye na kanto Akwesasne da no agwego na uzo do westa. Ai godelianda la gena hode I ungwawa. Toka no ai ungwayena was na za ai ungwaya da niland. Ji yugo home. The kids that it produces. I mean, you hear nothing but good when they leave, respect. So they're taught to respect everything, and they carry that. And I think holding that and strong in their culture, their traditions, I think having that makes them a stronger person and can enter the outside world and do good.
My parents didn't speak. My mother's family, they, like the first 7 kids, and like there's 14 in her family, the first 7 are fluent, and then the rest of them, and she's part of the rest of them, they didn't get the language at home. So we didn't have it at home, and we got everything from here. That's how we got the language. And I don't remember ever wanting to go outside of the school because I loved it here. This is the reason why. Like, I was getting perfect attendance all the time. I just loved being here. So I don't think I even was interested in another school at all. Every summer, we didn't go year-round when I was a kid here. We had our summers off, and they always did summer school, and it was in English, just to keep us, you know, up to par, I guess. So English was really easy for me too. So when I went academically, I did really well there.
It's been in existence since 1979, and it has produced dozens of really good people, men and women. In fact, today, and it's still in the growing pains as well. It's still trying to find its footing in this Western world, surrounded by the Western world. And to me, as I observe them, they're doing really good. And the kids that come from there, I see them, they can marry people according to our tradition in the Mohawk language. If somebody dies, they can do all the funeral speeches. This is our young men and women. And if there's a funeral, they can walk right in there and in the Mohawk language, give them a proper burial. When midwinters come and all the ceremonies throughout the year for the Mohawk, those young kids from the Freedom School can conduct those. They don't really need old people anymore. Of course, the old people is there yet because we're living yet, but if something happened, we wouldn't be there. I've seen them conduct those ceremonies. They don't really need us anymore, the old people. Of course, they respect us and everything, but I'm just saying that they're capable. And that's all because of the Freedom School.
We are currently in 3 buildings. You know, we have this building, the main school, the original school, and then we have a 2-story building next door for our older students, and then we have the language nest for the babies. But it would be nice if we were all in one building and our older students were interacting with our younger students, and even the babies in the language nest were part of the things we do. And like come winter time, we stay disconnected. So we really want to be more connected, and we also want a healthy building. Like we've had to renovate because of mold, we've had to renovate because of different things. Our roof is not in the greatest shape right now. Just the amount of money we spend on maintenance, we could be in a new building, you know, and it could be more energy efficient. And we've been here 40 years. So it's like, I think it's time. It's been 40 years we've been here, and we've made ends meet, and we've relied on our community and our volunteers to help us. And now we just want something that is energy efficient, that is good for the earth, that is, you know, less maintenance, and that it's gonna last another 40, 50, 60 years, so that we don't have to put this new building on the shoulders of our kids. You know, we wanna get it done so that, like, I've been hearing about it since I was a kid, and a lot of the staff here, we're all students here, and when they were kids, it was like our parents tried to do it, and money ran out and things happened, and it didn't happen. But so now we're all parents, and we're like, we want it to happen. Like, we want our kids to be in a healthy building. Mostly the health is the biggest thing. And the space, like, we have bigger classes now, and we don't have a lot of room. This year in particular, it was hard just to figure out, like, where are we gonna put this class and that class, because our rooms are so small. You know, we have more families that want their kids to come here, and we want to be able to grow into something.
We have an architect and that's working us, and it's Douglas Cardinal. So he's also the president of Douglas Cardinal Foundation for Indigenous Waldorf. And that's how we met him, through that. His executive director at the time emailed us and said, is there any kind of fundraising you would like to have done? Because I'm writing some proposals. But I think he meant on Indigenous Waldorf. But I wrote back and I said, do you think Douglas could help us with a new building? That's really what we need. And so he agreed, but it comes with a cost. So we've done the first phase, which was a visioning initiative where he talked to all the parents, he talked to the students, the teachers, what is their vision of a new school. And so it took about 6 months of meetings, and finally he came up, we have our conceptual design.
To me, it was wonderful to see that they had used the Rudolf Steiner education as a base, because it had respect for the children and love for the children, of which Steiner wanted to promote in his program. It was wonderful to be able to see the children follow a program that had absolutely respect for the culture and the language and the people, and to be able to see the fact that everybody was speaking their language, and each child was considered important, and everybody treated each child with respect and caring. And to me, that was really fundamental. That would be an honor to work with the community here and with the teachers and students here to bring their vision into reality.
Our biggest hurdle, and has always been, is money. So we're looking into different grants and different ways to, I guess, find the money to build a school. So we're looking for donations, we're looking for looking for money through foundations, through different grants. We want to do some fundraising in the community, but we know the amount of money we need. We can't expect the community to have that much money. You know, there's a lot of fundraisers, there's a lot of needs in the community. So we have to look outside and look at different just funding sources, whatever we can. And we're hoping that our friends help us. You know, there's people that have been supporting this school for a long time and they have friends, and hoping it goes like national to help us, or even international to help us get the funds to build the new school.
The major thing is always fundraising for our school, because we don't get money from the federal government for our operational costs. All our money is from donations. And it gets hard to, you know, raise money every year, where other schools, well, they get it from the federal government. But we have to raise everything for our costs. Like our budget's close to $500,000 now. We have I think our staff is about 20. That's a huge payroll that we have to pay.
I think we could use a lot more space. I think newer facilities, I guess. Like even the kids were just talking about, they're all squished and everything, so you know, we just need more space, I think. Like we don't have big classes, but for some of the activities we do, we could use a lot more room, so that'd help a lot to have bigger classes.
So hopefully we get a building this time. I'm saying we, you know, I might be an elder sitting there, but it would be nice to see that for the kids coming. There's a lot of kids coming. So I think too, if you had a giant building that looked like the way the plans look, I think parents would not be so, maybe it's something they would want to bring their kids to say, let's go here.
They've saved our language. They made our language precious. They've made our history precious. They reinstated our clan system. They reinstated our clan mothers and gave them power. They reinstated our chiefs and gave them recognition and power, empowerment. So what they have done is a sinking nation, as we were about to become extinct. The Freedom School is the life jacket that saved our entire people. And so things are different today, and it's different, and it's going to be different tomorrow and the next tomorrow, because they're still developing, they're still creating what it means to be a Mohawk person, a native person of North America. Freedom School is so precious. People are just beginning to understand that. I want the Freedom School to continue. I want the world to see it, because the little Freedom School is known all over the world. How little it is known all over the world internationally, and because it's a great school.